In-person attendance is limited to Berkshire Hills Regional School District school committee members, superintendent, and district school administrators. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted at this time. However, the meeting may be accessed remotely through the coordinates on the agenda. Agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed. Items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. This meeting is being recorded by CTSB, school committee recorder, and other members of the public and will be broadcast. Once transcribed and approved, minutes will be made public and posted to our website. So we'll start with a roll call vote.
Somebody has a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Ann Hudson.
Aye.
Jason St. Peter. Here. Bonnie Bonifoni.
I sent her the link, but I don't think she's on yet.
Molly Thomas.
Here.
Bill Fields. Here. Diane Singer.
Here.
Lori
Here.
Rich Mahoney. Here. And Steve Bannon, present. Go right to the superintendent's report.
Okay, I'm going to start with some good news. I'm sorry that the principals aren't here. I know Ben's doing interviews, so we'll be here in a little bit. So I'll start with his good news, and then we'll go to Zoe, and then I have some district-wide good news. So at the middle school, MCAS is in full swing. They had a 7th and 8th grade dance last Friday. That was really a lot of fun. 5th and 6th grade dance and game night is coming up this Friday. And they've done several field trips to the Mass Audubon, to their Pleasant Valley Nature Preserve. Okay, so that's going on at the middle school. Christy's on her way too. So Zoe, share what's exciting at the high school.
Yeah, absolutely. Julian's trying to bust in right now. He said the door's locked, so I don't know if he's gonna make it. There he is. Yes. But yeah, I mean, I can get started. A couple things coming up tomorrow. We have a mental health literacy training for students that the Shine Initiative is facilitating. That is super exciting. Students are collaborating with them to bring that to Monument. That was it was an idea that came up in our student advisory board, which is also going to have its last meeting, I think, next week to close out the year. Spartan Ninja, as we were talking about, is in full swing. So we've got our kill board up in the wall with great pictures of everybody. Bounties. Highest kill right now is maybe Lena or Lily, I'm not sure. But people are getting really into it. Wearing a picture of your teacher on your outfit was the challenge for today to stay protected. So that's a great fun, just bringing everybody together. Tonight is the opening night for the Addams Family musical, which everyone's been working really hard on for months. So that's where I'm headed directly after this meeting. And then, yeah, now that we're done with MCAS and AP testing, things are wrapping up. Lots of creative end of year projects are happening, kind of across the subjects. And
yeah, additionally, as part of work that was connected to the student advisory board, the freshmen had a sort of a forum/survey today. Did you talk about that?
Yeah, so I didn't talk about that.
So during our advisory period, the freshmen, the entire class got together in comparison work they've been doing with a group of teachers and some guidance counselors to sort of get a set of data for administrators about how this year was for them in terms of looking forward to next year. And I think that went really well. But overall, the year is winding down. Seniors are graduating in less than a week, or maybe one day and a week. And we're super to have graduation at Tanglewood again this year with a band getting ready to perform and to play the lovely song over and over and over again, which I get to do. And then prom as usual, and a lot of just celebration in the air.
Great. Thank you both. You-
I know Mr. Wright's appointment that we got an email about
Yeah,
tonight as a new position. I think he's
I'll
gonna
talk about that.
Okay.
Katie, do you have anything from the, are you settled enough from getting into anything from Letterbrook?
I think, again, I'm just saying, speaking for all three of us a little bit, in that with the uptick in COVID with staff and students and trying to get MCAS done and AP done and all that, we're kind of in a little bit of survival mode, all of us, but I did want to mention one thing. At the elementary school, we had a multicultural talent night, which was our first go round. There was only 9 performers, and one didn't really move at all. But it was a good night. The audience was larger than the performers, but it all worked out well, and we're planning on doing that again next year.
Okay, great. So I've got a whole bunch of news that I'd like to share that's good news. I'll start with the one Zoe mentioned. We hired Keith Wright, who's a current chemistry teacher at the high school, as the new assistant principal for career, vocational, and technical ed. Keith has been working this year in the high school. Previously, he worked in the middle school, and before that, he worked at the Renaissance School in Springfield. When he was working there, he was selected as a presidential teacher. That's a really big deal. It's one person per state, I think every other year. The only other person I think in the district who's gotten that award is Kathy Erickson. So he presented really well. He's starting to dig in and do some research, and we're going to ask him to come to our next meeting and do a more formal introduction. The timing of this is also nice. We've been doing a lot of work with the Regional School District Planning Board around possibilities and ways to expand CBTE, and plus our own internal work around that. So we have a really nice roadmap that he can take and refine and make it his own. So we're excited about that. In addition to this being a time for awards for students and lots of graduation scholarships, all that stuff starting up, it's also a time when we recognize teachers. So next week, a whole gaggle of us are going up to MCLA for the jointly MCLA and Berkshire County Superintendent's Roundtable, and we're recognizing several Berkshire Hills people as Educators of the Year. So from the elementary school, it's Kristen Finnerty. From the middle school, Elizabeth Smart. And from the high school, Maria Knox. And then we get to also recognize a nurse, and we're going with Becky Donovan at Muddy Brook. Though this year, all the nurses are doing extraordinary work. And we're recognizing an administrator, and that's Miles Wheat at the middle school, the assistant principal. So we're really psyched about that, and that'll be fun. Occasionally, we also have folks receive outdoor or outside scholarships or recognition. So Jolene Unruh, our English and drama teacher who's directing the musical, recently won the Captain Prize, which is named in recognition of Jamie Captain, who spent a lot of time in the Berkshires, at Miss Hull's, Williston, Northampton, and Deerfield, and that's hosted through Berkshire Taconic. She'll be recognized, I think, in the fall, and because of COVID, they're recognizing 2 people this year, or one last year and one this year, and I can never remember which is which, but Jolene and somebody from the Charlemont Academy over in Charlemont, so that'll be hosted there. I think only other person to win that prize was Lisa Baldwin, a little more than a decade ago. So that's a really big deal. It comes with a cash prize for the teacher, lots of recognition, and also a cash award to the school district. And then the last one that I'm really excited about is We've been doing a lot of work with the Bar Foundation, and the Bar Foundation is connected to a group called Spring Point. They have an inaugural class of transformative leaders, and they interviewed really a lot of people, maybe over 100 people. And Bethany Cook, another one of our science teachers, mostly a biology teacher, was selected for that. So she'll be part of a 2-year fellowship that focuses on teacher leadership. So we're excited for her. That's a mouthful. It's a lot of awards in 1 year. Christy, I think we got everything. No, that's fine. And anything, I mentioned best thing and key thing, anything else to add? And Zoe and Julie, I think got everything else.
I'm sure that
Okay.
they are very confident and covered wonderful things that are happening at the high school.
I mean, the other big thing that's coming up is graduation. So we'll be getting something out to the school committee, inviting you to graduation. If you're here and available, that's great. We've got a couple of school committee members who've got graduating students this year, as is our tradition. If your young person will tolerate it, you can hand them their diploma, which I leave to you to talk about at home.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that's.
Are we gonna have a breakfast?
Yeah,
Yes, we are.
we are having a breakfast, and invitations will be going out really soon to people on the school committee for that. Okay. And I think we're gonna get all of the hot weather over this weekend,
Right.
so graduation will be much more temperate. Okay. Great. So the next thing is, and there's a little memo about a vote to move remaining flexible spending account funds from last year to the revolving fund. So the flexible spending account are these accounts that people set up, and essentially it's you use it or lose it in a fiscal year. So we all buy contact lenses and pay for our co-pays with it. Every year there's a little bit that people miss. This year, and I just want to look at it, there's $622.11. So if somebody would like to make a motion to move the $622.11 in funds remaining from the Berkshire Hills sponsored 21 FSA account to the district's FSA TPA revolving fund, that would be great. And then we use that revolving fund to pay down costs associated with managing the fund.
So moved.
Second.
So I think Sharon, we're here, she would want a formal motion that's in our packet. And would get upset with me if I accepted.
I move to move $622.11 in funds remaining in the Bhrsd Hill sponsored FY21 FSA account to the district's FSA TPA revolving fund.
Second.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been with Sharon long enough to know I don't want a phone call from her. And she's usually right, so. Any discussion? So we have motion by Rich, second by Corey, roll call vote, Ann?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Bonnie?
Aye.
Molly?
Aye.
Bill?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Corey?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
And aye, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you for that. The next one in the packet is the communications plan slash responsibilities. So there's I think it probably makes sense for me to talk through it a little bit and then entertain questions. There's a 3-page draft plan followed by a 2-page thing we pulled from the Colorado Chicago Association of School Boards talking about that. And then there are 2 more pages around areas of key responsibilities. In our last meeting, we discussed really prioritizing training and implementation of Parent Square, both for staff, or really for all staff, students, and families. And we saw that as a real linchpin of communication. We also wanted to focus on the district calendar, and then the other things flow from that. So that's presented there in a separate document that came out a little bit later. That's translated into a formal job description, as is our practice or custom. I did add one change because I got some feedback on the second page. So a new bullet point that is promote communications that provide for equity and inclusion of all persons. So I thought that was consistent with our thinking, and I just took editorial license to add that. The people at the meeting were Bill, Rich, or several meetings, Bill, Rich, Corey, myself, and Sharon. So if anybody else has other comments or ideas, I'd love to hear that. As it stands now, there are really 2 paths we could go. One would be a full-time position, and the other would be 1 or more consultants. There are advantages and disadvantages to either approach. And the documents we've laid out give us flexibility to pursue multiple options and pick the one that makes the most sense.
Discussion, input?
Do you need a motion to approve the job description?
We will need a motion.
You want to do the discussion first, then?
Just if anybody had any, I'm not seeing any, so yes, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the job description as set forth by as in our packet.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the job description? Seeing none, roll call vote. Ann?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Bonnie?
Aye.
Ollie?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Diane?
Yes.
Corey? Rich?
Aye.
And I is unanimous. Okay, thank you. So the next thing, and this is increasingly complicated, and even looking at the meeting, you see some of us are wearing masks and some of us are not. It was in the Eagle today, but it was referenced in the New York Times, and somebody walking into the meeting said, we're number 1, or really we're number 2, right? So we're behind Middlesex County in Connecticut for the highest COVID rate right now. And in the country.
In the country.
Right. As we say that, more masks go on.
Yeah.
The issues, right, and this is extraordinarily complicated. The transmission rate is very, very high right now. And the infection rate is actually starting to come down. And that's likely a leading indicator of where we're going, right? So it may get a little worse, and then it looks like it may get better, though every day I read something that is not particularly optimistic. So they're testing a lot of wastewater in communities, Pittsfield, Boston, other places, and that's a leading indicator of what's going to happen. And in Boston, I think it's going up, and I don't know that we have that much more to go up from. Our local data at the school level is, and give me just a sec to pull it up. It's going up. The staff data is not terrible, though there were 5 cases in the last week at Muddy Brook of staff, 2 at the middle school, and 7 at the high school. The student cases in the last week are 18 at Muddy Brook, 16 at the middle school, and 16 at the high school. So there are a lot of cases. Right?
the good news is that most people appear to be asymptomatic or have relatively minor symptoms. But it's something to think about. Earlier in the week, or maybe it was last week, I sent out a note sharing that the CDC recommends that people wear masks when they're indoors, and that I recommended it, but it probably caused as much confusion as it did clarity. And I got a lot of emails from all sides. Is this a mandate? No, it's not a mandate. Is this a strong recommendation? No, it's sort of a weak recommendation. I think like in the immediate future, I recommend that people wear high quality N95 or KN95 masks in school. I don't think, or you could do what somebody in this room is doing, which is wear two lower quality masks together, which sort of gets you to the same place. I think just wearing a surgical mask is not an effective strategy, right? The other thing that came up is, all winter long, and we continue to leave windows open on the buses, and that's fine. The vans, we open the windows on the side, but the windows in the back don't open, and the total space in the vans is much smaller. So the one place I would like to require people to wear masks is on the vans. We don't have that many, and there are not that many kids on them, but I think the likelihood of transmission in the small enclosed vans with windows that don't all open is higher. So I think that makes sense. And my other thing would be to recommend in a slightly stronger way that people wear masks inside. There are a whole host of reasons why people may choose not to wear masks. They don't like them. They just got over COVID and their perceived immunity may be high, right? And that's sort of up for
They're actually
debate.
gonna be sad, but
Their actual immunity is high. We're starting to see kids and staff who've now had it twice. So just that you had it once isn't a guarantee that you're not gonna get it again. We did a sort of chat with superintendents today around this, and I don't think anybody right now is requiring masks in Berkshire County, with maybe vans being the one exception. A couple of schools a little east of us, but still in Western Mass, are moving back to masks. Neither the governor nor the State Department of Health are weighing in on this, or DESE, and recommending it. So we're once again left on our own to make decisions. So I just wanted to check in with you on that. I think the vans make sense, and I think the slightly stronger recommendation. We've got lots of KN95 masks that we can use. The other group that comes up are the pre-K kids who are below the age of 5 to get vaccinated, and they may be or continue to be vulnerable. Though in general their immune systems are good. Any thoughts on this? Any other direction or indications?
I mean, as the next booster comes available for people of age of the district, maybe looking into seeing if we can do those. I mean, I know it's been talked about a lot, but the clinics at the middle school, especially as the summertime comes around and they're not being used as frequently, making that option open.
Yeah, I'm open to that. I'll reach out to the folks that are scheduling them. But much of the boosters happening now are through local pharmacies, through the mobile vans, and through the 2 hospitals. Okay. Any other questions or thoughts on this? Okay. The Regional School District Planning Board has continued to meet. They're in a position now where Lucy Pratchker, the chair, Peter Taylor, the co or vice chair, and Jake Eberwein are going to be making presentations, ideally jointly, to each of the 8 towns, select boards and finance committees. They're waiting on Great Barrington to go last because Great Barrington is still, I think Great Barrington is the only community that hasn't had their town meeting yet. So they're starting with places that are done with their town meetings.
Quality select boards that can get their business done, don't drag everything out. I don't care. Select board.
I will remind you that you're a resident of Great Barrington.
Oh, I know.
So that's what's going on. I think we're about to schedule one in Stockbridge in early June. I have to check the date, but we'll reach out to the 3 school committee members from Stockbridge, and if it works in your calendar and you're able to attend, that would be great. Steve, anything else with the Regional School District Planning Board?
No, I think it's moved at a slow pace. It's been 2 years. I think we're starting to culminate. There's a lot of research, and I would ask people who are really interested to go onto the 8-town website, and there's enough data there and information there that could take you probably 2 years to read it all.
And in particular, there's a very aggressive timeline for the next 6 to 8 months to move through a whole bunch of processes. There are buckets of work that need to happen. And one of them, ultimately, if the board recommends this go to towns for a vote, the vote would be on a new regional agreement. So one of the buckets of work is to write a new regional agreement, and the pieces in that, the really big ones are representation and what the school committee would look like. There's assessments and how the costs would be divided. And I think in this context, the really third big bucket would be transportation, right? And probably something around what happens to existing schools in what context over time. So that's a big chunk of work. There's a chunk of work around educational visioning, and that'll likely get broken up into 3 groups, maybe an elementary group, a middle school group, then a combined high school group, and then parallel to the combined high school group would be some work around CVTE.
Aren't we kind of stuck on transportation? Just has to be borne equally by the district.
Yeah, but I think it's sort of making sense of what it means. And
but like on the cost side, but not. I don't think we're stuck with the state formula. I think we have to. The district just has to pay transportation for everybody. Well, that's a different committee.
Yeah.
So I've longed for flexibility on that just within our own district, and we've been told no. Yes.
So I think those are really the big buckets, but stay tuned, join in those conversations. Oh, the other thing is, in the end of June, there are going to be 2 hosted community forums that are web-based for everybody to participate, to both sort of get a quick update about what's going on and then to share feedback. So very shortly, a save the dates thing will go out, and then this is going to be managed by somebody who does a lot of online forums, and each of them might have several hundred people and then breakout rooms and all of that. So I'm glad I remembered that. I think that's it for me. What I did flag in upcoming meetings is in our next meeting, we're going to have a report from the folks from the Stoke Collective around our diversity, equity, inclusion work, both what's happened to date, where we've had successes and where we've had some challenges, and what's going forward in the next year. And then at the last meeting in June on the 16th, we're going to share some reflections and hopefully be joined by some teachers from the high school around the work in the 9th grade this year and implications for work in the 10th grade next year. We also, and I didn't mention this at the beginning, we had a site visit from the Bhrsd Foundation, and their folks were providing us support for this year's work, and they invited us to apply or to reapply for a 2-year grant up to $500,000 going forward. And the way their process works is they don't just take applications, they have to invite applications. So if they invite an application, it's a big vote of confidence in the work that the organization's doing.
Great.
So that's good news.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, so that's it for me.
Subcommittee reports. Policy is not met. Buildings and grounds.
Has none met.
Superintendent's evaluation
Not met.
is about to meet. Has not met. Technology has not met. Finance,
We're meeting before the next meeting, I believe.
the meeting after that.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I apologize. The meeting after that. Yeah.
When is that, Bruce?
The 16th.
The 16th. Well, I'll talk to Sharon this week and next week get an agenda out.
District consolidation and sharing really is all consumed with the regional school district planning board. Communication subcommittee
Generated.
the report.
Yeah, the work that got us to do that vote. So.
And we got a job description and we have a plan. So can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
Anything on the personnel report?
Yeah, let me just look at that for a sec. So a couple things. This is great news. We hired Kelsey Romano as a special education teacher for the high school, and we're really excited about her. She comes to us with a really strong background, and we also hired Alyssa Sorrentino as a board certified behavior analyst. And she has an equally great background and it is really strong. So I couldn't be happier about those two. We're also in the middle of doing a number of interviews. So we're close to finishing up on an ESL position. We're close to finishing up on a social studies position. We're about to schedule some music interviews and hopefully we can bring that to closure quickly. Other potential ones, anybody?
AP chemistry.
Yeah, we have a plan for that and we'll share that soon. They've done interviews and are doing some model lessons for the health position. I think that's it, but we're in pretty good shape from a hiring perspective.
So that's for FY23.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, all for starting in August.
Okay. Maybe we should have at like one of our August meetings or an update as to what the unfilled positions are.
Yeah, but hopefully there will be no update needed as we will have no unfilled positions.
That's good. And I was thinking because there was a lot of confusion about unfilled possessions being driven by budget allocations, not actual just personnel things. And I still feel like there's a lot of very educated employees of the district who are highly misinformed about that topic. I was thinking at some point maybe we should include under personnel report unfilled positions there. So we always know, and I think it's good for the school committee to track because we spend a lot of time working on the budget, doing these things, and then positions aren't filled for a long period of time. That's what leads to surpluses, which we may want to spend on other things or to know why they're accumulating. Yeah. So I think that would be a good ride around our personnel.
I like that. I think it's a great idea. And then just two others, retirements. So Susan Cobb, known to most of us as Betsy, is a longtime paraprofessional at Muddy Brook, and she's going to retire in mid-October. So we will see her a lot. We don't have to wish her well now, but we really appreciate everything she's done. But we'll make some time to do that. And then the other one is Barbara Middleton, who's the secretary to the director of student services right down the hall from us. And she'll be retiring in early September. So we'll be starting a search there as well. That's a really important position because it's very parent facing and there are lots of legal implications around deadlines and timing and services. So having a really strong person there is good. All the rest are spring extracurricular appointments, mostly athletics, and then a number of things at the middle school as well. So I think that's it. Any questions?
Any old or new business? Any public comment? Just raise your hand if there is any. I'm not seeing any, so by unanimous consent, we are adjourned.
Okay, thanks everybody. Have a good night.